Jack Hunter, a former Black Ops soldier, enters a raunchy bar filled with naked women and drunk men, and looks around the room like a predator seeking its prey. He takes a seat and spots a young man wearing a bracelet on his wrist. A dancer approaches Jack, giving him some of that stripper riz and wanting to get to know him better, when the man wearing the bracelet sees the two and gets envious, even though he is surrounded by women. The man, Bobby, tells the girl to come over, but she tells him to F off. Bobby feels disrespected and comes over to Jack, telling him to get lost. Jack decides to leave, but Bobby grabs him, forcing Jack to bust his nose. The other thugs attack Jack, but he manages to throw them all off him with ease. At that moment, powerful businessman and crime lord Nichols and his men enter and force Jack to put his hands on the bar. Turns out that Nichols is Bobby's father, and when Jack refuses to give up his name, Nichols has his man knock Jack out. Jack is brought to the police headquarters for interrogation by Nichols. Jack refuses to answer any of his questions, pissing Nichols off, so he leaves his thug to beat an answer out of him. On his way out, Nichols is given a photo that was found in Jack's belongings. The men inside throw a bag over Jack's head and begin to suffocate him, but Sheriff Kim busts in and orders them to stop and get out. The men leave, and Kim apologizes to Jack. She's about to release him when Jack disarms her and holds her at gunpoint. He tells her she will be safe if she follows his orders. Jack leaves Kim in the lobby of the station, then steals a cop car and escapes. Nichols gets home where he lives with his sister Maggie. He goes up to Bobby's room where he scolds him and demands to know who Jack really is. Bobby swears he has no idea but tells Nichols that he can handle it. Nichols then rips him a new one for always bringing them trouble and needing to be bailed out. The three then sit down for dinner when Nichols shows Bobby the photo he got from the station, and Bobby seems to recognize the young woman and gets worried. Jack pulls over on the side of the road and opens the trunk where he finds it filled with weapons like a gift from God. He hears Kim calling out to him on the radios telling him to come in, but Jack tells her that he must find out what happened to his daughter, the woman in the photo. Later that day, Nichols and Maggie meet with a wealthy landowner and a politician who have located a giant aquifer under a residential area and are colluding to displace residents so they can take advantage. Nichols and Maggie return to their mansion, looking forward to the water deal. She leaves Nichols outside to take a smoke, but suddenly Jack appears holding a shotgun on him. Jack tells him he is here for Bobby, who just then comes walking up. Jack demands to know where his daughter Melissa is, or he will shoot Nichols in front of him. Nichols urges Bobby to walk away, but Bobby gets scared and hints that he had a hand in Melissa's disappearance, claiming he did not want to hurt her. It turns out that Melissa and Bobby were actually in a situationship and had gifted her bracelet to Bobby. They were at a party having fun when Bobby began to influence her into taking illicit substances, causing her to overdose. Jack, in a rage, shoots Bobby, but gets shot by Maggie, who heard the commotion. Bobby takes his last breath with Nichols holding his hand, who then angrily orders his men to hunt Jack down. Jack is badly injured, weakly running through the forest of palm trees. Nichols's men spot him and open fire, but he manages to avoid the barrage of gunfire. Jack keeps moving, returning fire to cover his escape. The small army of heavily armed men, led by Nichols' right-hand man Victor, swarm the forest to hunt him down. Jack manages to take a breather and remove his heavy gear, trying to stop the intense bleeding. As the team of men advance, one man comes close to where Jack is hiding. As the man passes, Jack takes him down, then ambushes another and shoots him dead. At the station, Kim is telling her colleagues about Jack when Deputy Bartlett gets a call from Stone, telling him to get to the ranch, but not to tell Kim. Bartlett gets to the ranch where he and Stone hear gunshots and go looking for Jake. They stumble upon one of Stone's men shot dead, and Bartlett gets cold feet and runs away. Stone then gets a report from his men that they have lost Jack, so he decides to get a drone. Bartlett is running away when Jack attacks and holds him at gunpoint. Bartlett swears that he is a good cop and begs Jack not to kill him. Jack then demands that he tell Kim and nobody else where he is hiding. Jack runs until he comes upon a small shed and takes another breather to attend to his wound. Bartlett gets back to the station, telling Kim what is happening, and the sheriffs turn up to the ranch. Mayor Victor comes to meet with Nichols, warning both he and Maggie to clean this mess up before it interferes with their business plans. At the station, Kim and Bartlett are completely shocked by what is happening. Bartlett suggests calling in the other counties, But Kim fears that Nichols would hunt them down too, so they decide to keep investigating. She plans to meet with Jack to find out about his daughter, but is worried that he may end up killing her too. Nichols is with Maggie, worried that Melissa's ghost is haunting them and wants revenge. Maggie reassures him that they will kill Jack and protect their business and their weird Sweet Home Alabama relationship. That night, Jack is alone in the shed when he remembers meeting with his old Black Ops commander Murphy, worried that he is becoming lost in his job and needs to spend more time with Melissa. Melissa had then become addicted to bad substances, and Jack tried to get her help by introducing her to his old war buddy Bill, who had been an addict for many years. He ends up leaving her with Bill, which she again resents him for. Jack burns his wound close when another memory comes to him. After many years, he was finally able to see Melissa again, who started to resent him for being missing most of her life and not willing to give him a chance now. The next day, Murphy arrives at Nichols' mansion by helicopter. He barges into the home, ignoring Maggie's confused questions. Murphy then tells her that he is the only person who can bring Jack in and demands to speak with Nichols immediately. Murphy finally gets to meet with Nichols, warning him not to underestimate Jack. Murphy knows all about Nichols' security company and his contracts with very powerful people, and suggests allowing him to bring Jack in. But Nichols thinks he has it all under control as he wants Jack dead. Jack falls asleep at the hut and is found by the mercenaries the next day. The men beat him down at gunpoint, with Stone urging them on. The men continue their assault, but Jack gathers himself and manages to disarm and shoot all the men surrounding him. He then stands over Stone, who is bleeding out. Nichols hears him over the radios. Murphy again urges them to bring Jack in, but Maggie wants him dead. Kim arrives at the ranch looking for Jack when he finds her. She holds him at gunpoint, but Jack tells her if he wanted her dead, she would be all ready. Trusting that she is a good cop, he asks for her help in taking Nichols down as they know what happened to his daughter. He tells her to look into Melissa's disappearance and that he will find Kim again when he needs to. Jack returns to the shed where he has Stone bloody and tied up. He holds a knife to Stone's neck and demands to know what happened to Melissa. Stone was at the party where Melissa overdosed and had walked in on her and Bobby making out. Stone then ordered that all the teens leave the party so he could have his way with a passed-out Melissa. Stone lets it slip that Melissa is dead, which enrages Jack, who denies this and ends up stabbing Stone through the neck, killing him, and screaming out in pain over the loss of his daughter. Murphy meets with Victor, reassuring him that he will take care of Jack where Nichols failed to. He heads over to the station where he meets Kim and Bartlett, telling them to keep what is happening under wraps. The three go over the map of the ranch, realizing that Jake is not looking to escape, but to kill Nichols. Jake then comes in on the radios, and Murphy urges him to turn himself in, warning not to force him to call in a team. Jack finally tells Murphy that he is doing all this for Melissa, who was like a daughter to Murphy also. Jake then tells Murphy that he is going to kill everyone who was connected to Melissa's death, then kill Nichols. Murphy then tells Kim and her team to gear up, as Jack is bringing the fight to them. Jack then ambushes a man and steals his truck, racing into town with nothing but vengeance on his mind. In town, Murphy awaits the coming storm, with armed men posted on buildings all around. Jack makes it back into town at nightfall, overhearing the mercenaries reporting their positions and looking out for him. Jack grabs his rifle and gets ready. The sniper spots him and takes a shot, missing Jack and kicking off the gunfight. The mercenaries all begin to flood the city hall courtyard and begin to open fire. Jake manages to kill the sniper posted and kill a few mercenaries who were trained by stormtroopers to shoot. The gunfight is intense. The men try to advance on Jake, but he manages to kill anyone who gets close. The men throw a grenade and Jake is knocked down until his feet rejoin the chat and he takes off running, with the men chasing and shooting at him. He makes it to a building and rushes inside to take cover. Meanwhile, Murphy orders Kim and Bartlett to get a car so they can escape the city hall. Two men rush the building Jake is hiding in, but he kills the first before fighting and killing the second. As Kim is driving away, Jake appears before the car, forcing them to stop. He gets inside and orders them to take him to Nichols. Meanwhile, Nichols and Maggie are alone. He regrets going down this road as he had a perfect life so far. Maggie is fed up with him regretting things and leaves him to return home. Nichols stands alone for a while before returning home, only to see Jake there holding Maggie at gunpoint. He forces Nichols to disarm himself and tells him to take a seat. Jake demands to know what happened to his daughter, and when Nichols refuses, Jake begins to break Maggie's fingers. Nichols finally relents, admitting that he knew Maggie and she was an addict like his son. He still insists that Melissa simply overdosed, and he, nor Bobby, killed her. Jake then holds the gun to Nichols, who urges him to shoot as he will never know where Melissa's body is. Kim and the others overhear the conversation and call for backup to the ranch to arrest Nichols. The cops soon pull up outside and surround the house. Jake then forces Nichols and Maggie to exit the house, where Murphy urges him to put down his gun. Jake then breaks down in tears over the loss of his daughter. It turns out that Melissa did not die at the party and was still alive when Nichols and Bobby brought her to a lake. Bobby had wanted them to help her, but Nichols had insisted that it was too late and she was going to pose a problem. Nichols, Stone, and Bobby argued about what they should do, but Nichols had ordered Stone to take Bobby home. Nichols then dragged Melissa into the lake and held her underwater until she died. Jake holds his gun on Nichols and Maggie, threatening to kill them for Melissa, but Murphy manages to talk him down, then have his men arrest Nichols and Maggie, while Jake looks on, tired and covered in blood. Kim then rushes to Jake's side, telling him to hold on for help. Jake thanks her for believing in him, and she tells him that Melissa would be proud of him for fighting for her. After a while, Jake walks away from the scene, recalling thoughts of Melissa, and picturing her walking beside him and holding his hand. Later, Bartlett is escorting Nichols and Maggie along a road, when a black van pulls up in front of them. Bartlett quietly walks away when Murphy appears with a machine gun, ripping Nichols and Maggie to shreds for killing Melissa. Remember to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more movies like this. Thanks for watching.